November in the dark backwoods of Maine is a time of waiting. The days are depressingly short, the night temperatures drop below freezing, and soon winter will hit. And as everyone knows in the isolated town of Webster Plantation, winter will come with a vengeance, cutting them off even further from the rest of the world. But in the fall of 2009, Webster is waiting for something else. Answers. More than a week has passed since the Miller murders, and the worried town is on edge, fearing a deranged killer may be lurking close by.
A lot of people were scared because people didn't know where this person was and what they were doing, and people were pretty upset.
And while the so-called mystery woman remains their top suspect, police aren't prepared to let the Miller's youngest son, Matt, off the hook just yet.
They just didn't agree with some of his actions and things like that after the crime took place. And basically thought he was involved. So,
On December 5th, 2009, a little over a week after his parents were found murdered on their kitchen floor, 26-year-old Matt Miller is taken into custody.
not only, this just happened to my mother and father, now my brother's gone. We're supposedly accused of doing it. You know what I mean? My whole family. Both.
Matt continues to claim he had nothing to do with the murder. That's not what police tell us.
They actually sit there and tell me that's best. Do it. He's telling them all about it right now.
If state police are hoping to get the Miller boys to turn on each other, that's not how things work.
They're not bad, and basically threatening the investigator.
No, Papa. You're going to go downstairs. You want to go downstairs? Sit down somewhere.
Matt's story has changed. This time it seems to fit better with what the folks out on Tucker Ridge Road claims.
Why want a 2-year-old?
There was video footage at a local funeral home that made it appear that Mr. Miller, although had to have been committed.
The footage of Matt driving through Lincoln doesn't prove Matt wasn't involved in his parents' murder, but it does indicate that he's finally telling investigators the truth. As for the gun he was allegedly looking for on the internet, Matt admits to that, too.
When confronted with that, he claims, and it's very likely true, that he was looking for a gun that he could use to pawn so that he could get money for drugs.
Now that Matt has come clean, he figures he's free to go, but the cops are in their own hurry. While he remains in custody, they shift their focus back to the mystery, still at large.
Everybody was, and you know, with rumors and gossip, a lot of people were just talking foolish, you know. And then a lot of people were talking because they were concerned and worried.
You know, it's a shock to the system when you hear they've both been murdered in a small town, and you're a little concerned, you know, until they find who did it.
With little else to go on, police circle back to the man who first reported the woman being at the Miller house, family friend Nate Nightingale.
Nathaniel Nightingale was interviewed several times by the Maine State Police in connection with this case, and all of them really believed Mr. Nightingale's story.
Tell me about this woman again. Tell me everything.
But now the Maine State Police decide to press Nate a little harder.
Are you sure you described everything just right to her? Yeah, you're sure of that? How old was she?
They really started hounding and hounding and hounding.
No matter how hard they push, Nate sticks to his story.
Sure, I saw. He was right up front.
You have a conversation with him when you see him, you know, it's like, this is driving you crazy, you know, there's looking up and down, you know, they're following me everywhere.
Seeing his frustration, police offer to make Nate a deal. Take a polygraph test to clear his good name.
He said, sure. You know, he figured, I'm set. I'll do a polygraph and, you know, they'll leave me alone. They'll see that I didn't do it. So he jumped on it. Yeah, I'll do a polygraph.
On December 11th, 2 weeks after the Miller's murders, Nate Nightingale sits down with a Maine polygraph examiner.
Did you murder the Millers? No. And you're telling me that, and you're telling me no. Good. Give me one reason though why I should believe. Because I have way too much to.
For over 6 hours of questioning, Nate continues to deny having anything to do with the murders. And why wouldn't he? The Millers were like a second family to him. Big Mike treated him like a son. It's a good story. There's just one problem. The polygraph tells a different one.
The polygraph examiner, through a very, very long, for several hours, was able to detect a number of physiological responses that suggested that his denials simply weren't true.
I was pretty much broke until I got to my father's. I had like, when I left, I probably had like 10 bucks.
As they were turning the heat up, so to speak, on Mr. Nightingale mentioned the fact that he thought perhaps he should get a lawyer. So the interview ended. Mr. Nightingale left.
Sometimes our greatest fears are not lying in wait somewhere just out of sight. Sometimes our greatest fears are right here with us, hidden among our neighbors, friends, and relatives. And that could make the solving of the mystery of who killed the Millers that much more horrible to swallow for the town of Webster Plantation.
The only place where you can watch and shop QVC and HSN Plus. Watch and shop more chefs.
You know what that spells for me? The touch.
Bon appetit. More designers.
Did you know I'm here? You want to come for a tour of my closet?
What do you do when you are really
I just knew I never fit in. More inspiration.
all these years of touring?
Welcome to Design School. What is it about this hot chocolate server? Stream free now on all your favorite devices.
The insular backwoods Maine township of Webster Plantation had always stood up for and protected its residents, but it could not protect Big Mike and Valerie Miller. Now, a month after they'd been found murdered in their Tucker Ridge Road home, the two main suspects are their youngest son, Matt, and family friend, Nate Nightingale.
He was like a son to him. That's the way they treated him, you know, like a third son. And I just couldn't believe that he would go in there and do something.
After taking a lie detector test about his involvement in the murders, Nate drives home toward Webster Plantation. But first, he meets up with his girlfriend, Brooke Lawson.
Big Mike was an accident.
Oh,
I don't know what happened.
I mean, really?
What are you gonna do?
And so she calls the cops. She's all hysterical and says that Nathaniel has confessed.
He told my confession.
He had already gone from Brooks to his mom. Gone in, seen his mom, and made some sort of oblique reference of a confession to her.
Found at his mother's house early the next morning, Nate confesses to the cops.
He was read his Miranda rights, and he told them his version of how the homicides involving the Millers had taken place.
Nate tells police he had gone to the Millers to try to pawn a gun for drug money.
I grabbed the toy from the bar. Pay attention to the bar.
Where did you get it? Yeah. Couple bucks.
I was holding it, just kind of looking at it. I put my thumb on the top, squeezed it, shot went off. He fell. For some reason, I don't know why, but I shot her.
Nate then leads police to his father's cab to recover Big Mike's wallet, which Nate had hidden beneath the cabin.
Got the phone call that he had confessed to Brooke and that all this was going on. So then when the detectives come out here that night after everything took place, that first thing I told them, I was like, you get on that phone or you get in your car and you drive to that jail and you tell my brother, period. And they did. Every one of them went to that jail and apologized and told him.
Despite his recorded confession, at trial Nate claims he's innocent, and that the cops pressured him to admit he killed the Millers so that they could wrap up the case.
We took a position at trial that he knew that law enforcement was leaning on him heavily, that they believed he was responsible, and so therefore he just told them what they wanted to hear so they would lay off.
For the friends and family of the Millers, and indeed the whole town of Webster Plantation, waiting for the jury's verdict is just as painful when it is finally read.
Wait. Hush. Hush. It just made me miss it. Hush.
Just as painful, and when it is finally read, stunning.
They asked her to Michael Miller for that not guilty. Like my heart just dropped and like
Okay, not guilty. What? Oh.
My mom.
Man.
Guilty. That kind of back off like.
Oh, I see. Manslaughter because he says gun went off and then he purposely shot the wife. So that would be murder. Okay, I see.
Talk to him.
Well,
only 3 people know what really happened in the kitchen that morning, and 2 are dead.
What the hell was going through his head when he did that? What the hell put him to that point when he did that? And then, he was my best friend.
A lot of people said that when
they both died, that one, it was almost, soothing that they had gone together because one wouldn't be okay without the other. It would be too much.
People still talk about it. It may get feel better, but you still remember forever.
Remember, sure. But what the good folks at Webster Plantation wish they could forget is the hard lesson that the greatest danger is not some abstract evil lurking silently in the dark woods, but the friend who stops by for a Saturday morning coffee.
Amen.
This person, you're really my friend, or somebody's going to take advantage of you even more.
It really woke everybody up to, that times are changing, and maybe sometimes that's not for the better.